Now, a lot of teens are uncomfortable with sexuality in high school. Was it hard for you to make yours publicly known?
Yes. I think that it's not easy for anybody, and for those who it looks easy, it's just that it looks easy. And but I don't think it's easy for anybody. And there's one thing to be personal about your private life for people who are already used to that, but if you're like me, who's already a very private person about that kind of thing, it's doubly difficult. But that being said, there's also the unique circumstances of having 2,400 people be a little bit more aware of your life than most people have that kind of audience looking at them. And with the 21st century technology we have, there are very few secrets. So it's been difficult, and there's been an added difficulty having that many people looking and interested at all for it to be any part of their level of concern. But at the same time, I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't a level of ease that came with knowing that there were a good portion of those people who were all support. I think that there's an element to which someone who is in a public profile, even if that public isn't the masses of California, even if it is a group of 2,400 very talented high school students, I think someone who has that kind of attention claims for themselves a certain level of responsibility, and the responsibility is about service, and that comes in a million and one different ways. And one of those ways to be of service is to be honest and to show them that things that look like impossible obstacles, being honest about who you are, being honest about what you care about, who you care about, that these things are difficult for a lot of people. And for someone who gets a lot of attention, to be able to hurdle that, I think it does inspire people, that at least just to know that it's possible, that it can be done, that it's not the end of the world, that in fact it can be a positive thing, helps people at least come to terms with it themselves. If they choose still to continue to be private about it, I respect that. I hope that that's not always true. I hope that they can find an opportunity in their life where it becomes appropriate for them to not be private about it anymore, but at least so that they can come to terms with themselves. That hopefully that there's a certain amount of people in this program, I by no means expect all, but a certain amount of people in this program who respect me for whatever reason. They respect the way that I treat them. They respect the way that I have contributed to this program. And I hope that they can see then that if they respect me, that they can respect my decisions. And so if it's a personal thing for them, they can have a level of respect for themselves for doing the same.
In real life, politicians often can't be upfront with sexuality. Why do you think it can sometimes be a liability?
I think the country has a history of it's kind of a paradoxical country. We are very progressive in a lot of areas. We pave the way for other countries to do incredible things, and at the same time, we have historically tied ourselves down to these images and to these stereotypes and to these fears of people who are not like us. And I think it's a byproduct of our incredible democracy, unfortunately, is that one of the sacrifices of being about the people is that we get in our mindset that if it's not the majority, then it's not right. And it was said, I think it was Thomas Jefferson who said in his inaugural address when he first was elected president, is that it is a sacred principle that the majority must always rule. And yet, for the majority rule to be right, it must be reasonable, and we must always respect our minorities and make sure that they are heard as well, because otherwise it would be oppression. I was definitely scared going into this week. We talked about it at our leadership training. Our leadership advisor told us, I want to go around the room, and it was the first thing we had said to each other since we got there, is that I want you to talk about the state of your heart. And that was important, because a lot of people got really deep about what the state of their heart was. And my state of my heart, it was a whole lot of things, but the pertinent one was that I was scared. And I still am scared, and I'm scared every day, and I don't say it very often, but that doesn't mean it's not true very often. And it was scared that these 2,400 people had put in me the faith and the trust that I would deliver. And I want to do right by them, and I want to do right by them every day. One of the points I was making yesterday is that it's not necessarily about the expectations people are placing on us. We should hold ourselves to a certain standard, and when we do great things, people will notice it, and it's okay if they weren't expecting it. I've kind of set that for myself so that I can be the best servant I can to the people I've been asked to serve.
Well, I hope from this interview people really got to know the real AJ.
Me too.
And thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you.
AJ Blumenfeld tends not to let his guard down. He somehow finds an answer to every question he faces. He's a role model to our youth and offers hope and endless possibilities to the youth as well. Thank you for watching. Once again, I'm Matthew Arthel.
I'm Emily Lupton.
And I'm Hannah Dykstra.
Good night, everybody.